Okay, and welcome to Around the Console. I'm here today with my budding mates, and we're going on about Rose. Now, this is a clincher. You either love it, you either hate it. It's like Marmite. We waited so bloody long for it. What's your thoughts? And I'm going to go to the guy who always tanned, Craig.
So it was me.
Sorry,
Definitely not me.
I just put an extra layer on before I came on.
What, a creosote?
Yeah.
Bisco.
Someone said to me, but every time I see you, like you've been dipped in creosote. I couldn't work out if that was offensive or not. I decided it wasn't in the end. But what do I think of Rose? I absolutely love Rose. I just think it's genius. I take it as what it is, which is the first episode after it had been off air for so long. So I wasn't expecting loads of complex stuff. I just think it is a brilliant first story. I was so excited about it. I know we'll talk about that type of stuff, but yeah, every time I watch Rose, I find it better and better.
Oh, that's quite positive. Let's go to Bob.
Obviously, I was absolutely gutted when this came out last time, as you remember. But I take it all back. I read the Target novel, which is fabulous. Adds a lot more depth to the story. And I wasn't even going to watch it. I was like, meh. But I did watch it last night, and it's brilliant. It brought back a lot of memories, a lot of great memories. So I was, very, very happy about it all.
Cool.
So yeah,
that's good. Two thumbs up to now. Let's go to Suki, the sleeping mermaid.
Sleeping mermaid. I'm Ariel, am I? Ariel. I love this. From the first time I had the really, really dodgy copy that was released a couple of weeks before the episode was shown, and I showed it to all my family back in the day, and they really liked it. And says, "Oh, this is Doctor Who, future of Doctor Who." I says, "Yeah." And ever since then, I've loved this episode. It's just a great start to the series for the comeback. So yeah, loved it.
Wow, everyone's positive. Let's wrap it up. John.
Well, yeah, it was absolutely fucking shit. No, absolutely not. Well, I've got two opinions on this. The first one was my original viewing of it 18 years ago, virtually to the day, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember being really underwhelmed, as in I was meh about the whole thing. I thought the plasticky creatures were crap. But having watched it this week for this podcast, I'm surprisingly, I get it now. I get why it felt. I got the context of all you guys and your millions of years of hurt before then, and I kind of get the idea how the impact of it. And I thought Christopher Eccleston was good, and it wasn't as bad as I remembered it. And I think Rose was great.
Everyone's positive. Well,
what about you, Cliff?
My view was, I think similar to John, when it first came on, I didn't like it when it first was shown because I wanted so much more. But then since then, I've watched it many, many times, watched it with my kids. Sirius really loved it. And I watched it again, and I watched it last week for this. And I really like it. I like it. It's camp, it's fun, it's fast paced, and all the things which you wanted to move into another generation of Doctor Who lovers. It had to have a story fast enough to keep going with all the American shit, what we always get, and everything else. The special effects could be a bit like, but it works. It's so good. I loved it.
At the time, I mean, this is what I was reflecting on last night when I was watching it. This was, after Alfred being born, this was the biggest moment in my entire life. Doctor Who coming back after 16 years off telly.
Hey, we played at the Cavern, Bob. Come on.
Oh, well, sorry. Yeah, third best thing that's ever happened to me. But it was for a full 8 minutes at the Cavern as well. 8 minutes
7
at the Cavern.
We had to get on there.
But it was just incredible. I know we had the movie in between time, but it was more than that. It was for 16 years or for all my life. Doctor Who had the piss taken out of it. Yeah. I kept it secret that I was a Doctor Who fan to most people. It was embarrassing. And the trepidation of this coming back, and it was hyped up massively, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah. Massive adverts. Everywhere you went, there were posters, big billboards. It was just brilliant to go through that and live. It was brilliant.
And it was huge. It was massive. I went around my friend Eddie's house, who's a fan, and we watched it, and the Graham Norton thing when his transmission bled onto it, it took me out of it completely. So I didn't really enjoy it the first watch. The second watch I did. And what annoyed me a little bit was, and I'll get this out of the way now, because overall it was very positive. It was awesome. It was coming back. You know, in the early 90s, the effects don't look great now, but at the time they were fine. You know, they were good. You know, it was like, wow, they've spent some money on this and all that, because we weren't used to that in Doctor Who. But the bit with the Mickey and the fucking bin, pardon my French, right, was the bit that my mate, you know, it was my mates who were taking the piss out of me for liking Doctor Who. They were like, yeah, it was actually all right, that, apart from the fucking bin. And they were immediately laughing at Doctor Who again. And I was a bit like, oh, yeah.
I refer to that as the bincident.
Oh, I like that. It's true, though, that, isn't it? Yeah.
And the thing is, on reflection now, it's good. It's funny. It's Doctor Who. Only Doctor Who would do something so stupid and ridiculous. And that's kind of why I love it. But at the time, it was uncomfortable.
I think for me, it's not so much the bin bit, it's the burp of the bin. That's the bit that makes me cringe.
Yeah, it's that aligned with also the next few minutes with Rose and whatchamacallit,
Mickey.
And he's like, basically, well, she's not making comment on any of the obvious stuff that we're looking at in his face, and he's got suddenly had a new haircut and shit. But
yeah.
That's how much attention she's paying to him at that point, because she's
that's overdoing it, but it's still unreal. That's the unrealistic element that, like, it's all unrealistic. It's fucking Doctor Who. It doesn't make sense.
In the book, it's explained much better. Yeah, because it kind of goes into the fact that she's so focused in on what it is, and Mickey's character's explained is quite goofy and playful. So she thinks he's just on one of his silly moments, and she's getting really cross with him in the book. But
his hair changed. Yeah, and that's the bit that's thinking. All right.
One thing I found of it, and obviously we've watched a lot of Doctor Who, is it was probably one of the first
That's a fucking understatement.
Yeah, that's we watched probably too much Doctor Who. It's probably one of the first times it really focused on working class companions. If you can think of the other companions, they had a bit up there.
Things like that.
Spoke very British, you know what I mean? Very BBC at the time. You even had Chris Eccleston, a Northerner, fellow Salfordian, by the way.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And when that came out, I think that also the transition of that felt more towards people, because there were, you know, people down south like watching Coronation Street and stuff. So they had something which they could connect to straight away, and it was different. RTD decided, I'm going to write it this way instead, and that seemed to make it more fun.
The first half was all set, wasn't it, on the council estate, you know, the Powell estate, and it was all dark and the council housing, and it was literally, everything was quite grim. You could see the bins when you were walking out. You could see the high rises, the poverty.
Yeah, it reminded you of Salford Precinct, didn't it?
It's the way it was like Salford Precinct. Yeah, but then the TARDIS moves, and suddenly it's landmark after landmark of exciting London. Yeah. So the whole episode is completely juxtaposed in that way. They crammed, you know, the Tower of the Bridge, Parliament, the London Eye, all in there. The Thames, in like 10 minutes of that. It was so well.
It's all around the same area, so it didn't take long to go around them.
And it's like even that beginning bit, because when I was watching it, what I really noticed was the way it's, I don't know if you ever spotted it, the beginning first few moments are so pink all the way through, you know, her clothing, her bedroom, even in Henrik's, the clothes they're showing are pink and they're vibrant and they're everything, even people walking out, a lot of pink in there. And then literally she goes from this really bright, fast moving landscape down within 4 minutes to the basement where it's dark, it's creepy, she's ice. So you've got this really bright introduction and then the contrast, and then you've got the north and you've got the south. It's really, it brings in so many elements, really well directed.
Can you clear something up for me? Because I mean, I was watching it obviously on the iPlayer, and it was, I don't know whether it was just the quality or whatever it was, but it was like soft focus, a lot of it. It's like, you know,
that's the
colours were bleeding, and I don't know whether that was just a thing back then, or was that something specific?
No, that was the Doctor Who iPlayer, because I watched it on iPlayer, and it was. I wish I got my DVD out, but I didn't. But it had that very early noughties, wasn't it? In look and stuff like that. Sucky's got his finger in there, like he just don't care.
Gonna give us a fact finally, suck it.
Yeah.
No, it's just not. It's just the HD quality came a bit later, proper HD quality. So
Yes.
that's why it looks a bit
Season
soft
5.
focused.
Well, it's not.
started.
It's not the granularity of it. It's not that. I just kind of mean the colours were really bleeded out all
Yeah.
the way. And
Well,
it was
that- again,
like-
that
I
was-
didn't know whether that was a directorial or editorial sort of
It was.
choice.
Yeah. Well, remember saying before in the past that when Russell T Davies brought it back, he said he wanted this to be bright and colourful. It couldn't be darks and greys because it was up against Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway. So he wanted vibrant. But he did then come back and said that even he thought Rose's bedroom was a little bit too much,
Too garish.
too garish. He said that, you know, if he could go back and change something in that episode, that would be the look of that room, perhaps.
Not the bin. Okay.
well, he did say as well, he got the humour wrong, didn't he? He said that throughout this one, and he said
But
for
he had-
Aliens of London.
He had such a job on his hands, hasn't he? He's got the history of Doctor Who, and like Bob said, like we all probably went through, is he never told anybody or admitted to it. And if you actually got someone to watch a Doctor Who episode back then, some poor bugger would probably sit there watching an episode. You're like, oh shit, how many is there? We've got 6. It gets better along the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
So
there is that.
He had
Yeah.
to squash all that in, make it and package it, market it, like you said, goes around London, all these nice scenes.
Yeah.
And the Americans love all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
He knew that it had to
Yeah.
be sold in the different places to it
Yeah.
to work.
But it didn't have to be sold really that. It just had to be sold to the British first, because this is where it needed to be a success.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it didn't become a success here, it ain't going to go.
Ain't gonna go
abroad.
sold, yeah.
Right, so
Well,
it needed to be a success here. There was all sorts of shenanigans going on behind the scenes, and you're right there, Craig, when he says that they started making this show to make it bright and bubbly, and it took a bit more of a comedic bent to it. But it's only after this one, Aliens of London, had been made that it sort of got a bit darker, because all the other episodes were made after this, and so they made it a bit more serious after these 3 episodes have been recorded. Once that had happened, then it really, I think Russell got a bit more of a handle on the show, the way
When
it
you
should be
say
made.
3, you mean because the next one's the end of the world, isn't it?
Yeah, but
and
that
then
was
Yeah, but you don't look. It's not. It was the first producing block, wasn't it? The
Yeah,
block, the
and that
first
one was
production block.
Aliens of London.
Yeah, production
Aliens,
block. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and that
And
and that and
it was
that
in London. Yeah,
and that's not and then 3, Aliens of London, that 2-part a bit shit. But I
I
say
think
they're a
it's
bit shit. It's with a caveat, because this is quite genius in a way, because you're coming in through the eyes of the companion, who's a normal
Yeah.
person people can relate to. Billy Piper's brilliant. You've got a very different and more dressed normal Doctor. There's more association there. You see London, the association there, and the Autons are just genius, absolute genius. Having them,
Yeah, because
back,
it's
it's
sort
just
of
amazing.
it's terrifying, like Terror Autons, but it's not too much to take over a new companion and
Well,
a new
it's-
Doctor. If you would
it's-
have dropped a Dalek, it would have been like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need the attention on the companion and the new Doctor. So that in the background, when I'm thinking of this episode, all I can think of is Rose running around with Chris Eccleston. And yeah, you got the Autons there, and it's not that frightening.
they're almost like a sideline, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. He
And that's-
needed that story to say, but it was a good way to bring it in.
Yeah, totally agree. Because he had, like you said, so many things. Every bit was there. The war was mentioned. The fact that it was the last was mentioned. The fact they brought the TARDIS in.
They had a
took
lot
time.
to do for
They had-
45 minutes.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly, and have a story that would captivate and every single character was introduced in terms of Dr. Rose, Mickey, Jackie, all there, little bits of each of them that they stayed loyal to for the whole three series they were in it, just the beginning. So yeah, a really very difficult script to write.
And what do you think of it was the first time we had Murray Gold, and he kept with it all the way up, didn't he? All the way through.
Oh, I got that CD of season 1 and 2, and I used to play it in the music score and play it constantly. God, looking back, I remember driving around Leeds and it played up my car like I was really trendy. How embarrassing was that?
Oh
I
my God.
loved it. Yeah,
Can't believe you admitted to that.
I
Jeez.
do admit to it, but I did, and I must admit, even when I was watching this again, I did play it. Well, just to take me back, that first bit when it's like London in whatever it is, that big square thing. And that music is just funky and and bright.
It complements it. It's
Yeah.
fast paced. It's not your, it's different than what you've ever heard before on Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It's quite up for the time. And he did do some good scores along the way, I think, Murray goes. Some of it
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
goes off on himself a bit wanky, but some of the stuff is good.
No, it is, and sometimes it's overbearing, and sometimes
Yes.
but so is this era of Doctor Who. But it had to be something, and whatever it was, it worked.
Yes.
It had a snowball effect. This was the first thing that rolled, and it worked.
When you think about any new TV series, the music is integral to how you overall feel about the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Massive.
that contributed to its success, really. So it can't have been that bad. And
No.
yeah, like Bob says, it has its moments of like, tone it down a little, but yeah, it's fine.
I like the way they do, as they always kind of did do in Doctor Who, the themes, the music scores and things for each character. The Doctor has his, and Rose had hers, and then obviously Donna and Martha and all, and the Master. They all have their little themes that even Unit, and they did that very nicely during the Murray Gold era. And I know, exactly like Bob said, there were times the music went particularly over the top, but if you just strip it back to what it did well, I liked that repetition. It brought you in. It was that familiarity that you felt comfy with, because it kind of set the tone for you straight away.
Matt Smith's Doctor theme is my favourite piece. Of Murray
Genius
Gold.
is that, isn't it? Yeah, I agree.
Beautiful.
Okay.
But I just want to say,
I don't know what that one is.
it's
That came on in the gym. That's actually on my gym playlist.
but it
and that-
powered
it
you up
actually
like
come
Eye
out.
the Tiger.
I actually got me really giddy about it. I was
Yeah.
feeling, but again, I'm not going to talk about the music I listen to, because it's probably even worse than saying Kylie.
I
But
mean,
there you go. There's something that you, top secret listeners, Craig's
Yeah.
music
Also-
selection.
What I did like as well, it was that little thing in the distance that you thought, what on earth is that Bad Wolf? It was the first time he saw a little nugget of it, and
What
then
Bad
all of a
Wolf?
sudden he started seeing that
Graffiti.
through.
where?
On the
walls?
It's on the
Oh, yeah.
walls.
Yeah,
Where is
it's only a little bit
Don't remember
there,
it.
and
Is
then
it right
you
at
don't
the end?
really.
It's just as she's running past somewhere, or they're walking past somewhere on the power.
Is it when she goes back to the TARDIS to see it disappear? Is it there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
there,
dark.
it's there, but then you don't really notice it until you've seen it a few times, and then the connection to it on the next episode and next episode. And I thought that little underlying plot. So when you watch the end of
genius,
it,
yeah.
you want to go back to the beginning and go, "Oh, where is all these little bits?" You can see them all start linking up together.
We also
was-
get that's like a series arc.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
Which is
is.
one
It was
of the criticisms about like current Doctor Who is the series arcs. So it's kind of like you just have to choose what
That
bits to
Bad
be
Wolf was the
an
series arc. Perfect.
Yeah.
I thought that was
It was very
amazing.
gentle, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
very. It wasn't
Well,
anything.
some
it
people
was
don't
just-
want series arcs; they just want Adventure of the Weeks.
Yeah.
No, and then you
But
get
that's what-
Stephen Moffat who writes himself into
Yeah.
a corner with it, and then
Well,
can't get
the
out.
series arc with Bad Wolf was like, let's say in some of the episodes, it might just be that someone spray painted Bad Wolf on the TARDIS, or it might say Bad Wolf News, or the town was called Bad Wolf when it was translated. So it was you had to look for it. And then let's say in
I
episode
have
9
watched the series. I'm aware of the Bad Wolf thing. I just didn't realise that it was
Just
in
started
Doctor
with
Who.
them.
I remember when first time I went to Cardiff and did the tour, I took Matt round all the sites, and you could literally see where the Bad Wolf was still on the walls where they left it. They didn't clean it off. And that was actually really spooky to see, 'cause it was almost like, oh, crikey, this. Not only was where it filmed, but it's there. It's real. Well, obviously not real, but
You love a location, Craig. I just
I
wanted
do love
to,
a location.
to talk about, and it's much bigger in the book, is Clive, who is basically us.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's so you've got all the stuff that we've talked about is RTD, making it for everyone. But then he still includes himself or us, the Doctor Who fans, by Clive, and adding that bit of history, adding the JFK assassination, which was the same day the first day that Doctor Who was ever broadcast. A little nods like that are just lovely because he's still to get them in. No one else would know. No one else would know. But because he's a Doctor Who fan, a friend of the podcast, Russell T Davis. So it's just thanks for that. And I never picked up on that before. And
He's got his little collection in the shed, hasn't he? And most of the people that talk to about it are boys, and it's all very subtly done, but it really is a nod to the list, the viewer, the website, and then how to keep in touch.
It's a girl.
Yeah, that was funny because it's true. Because I
It's
mean,
one
I
of
went to
them
a convention in 1992, and there was not one female person there who wasn't a star guest or
A
whatever.
true sausage fest.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Very, yeah, and you go now, Doctor Who's cool, and being a nerd's cool and a geek or whatever. You know, there's loads of
Yeah,
uh,
tons of them everywhere.
females there. Obviously there's probably a lot more blokes still as well. But yeah, this was huge, man. And reflecting on last night, when I was watching it, it was like, yeah, this is great. I'm so happy we've gone back and done this. The book though, it just adds so much more.
I've not read the book, but you both said it was really good to worth
the book
reading.
is. I was actually quite surprised.
Who would have thought Bob would be the book wanker of the podcast?
I know I'm being the book wanker again.
Is it one of
actually,
those Target ones, like little ones?
Pamphlets.
Took me about 47 minutes to read. It's brilliant.
Just happy to have it there.
But it's cool. It adds stuff to Clive. So the reason why he's chasing him is because his dad was killed in the war, but it was all covered up because it was a secret operation which involved aliens and all this kind of stuff. So that's why he's looking into the Doctor so much. So it adds loads of stuff. The big Auton attack as well is huge. It's massive, rather than what we get on telly. Yeah. It even includes like Donna Noble and things like that we didn't know back here.
That was very cleverly written.
It was very clever. And the beginning, Bernard, the security guard, he, do you remember when we did Meglos? There's a whole bit at the beginning about the banker dude, the kidnap. They do this for now with the security guard, Bernard, who is getting the lottery money and making him out to be this thief and this dodgy geezer and all this sort of stuff. And it just adds loads more to it when you then go, I'm pleased to do it this way around, read the book and then watched it because it added that to it as well.
I totally agree. Yeah, because I've never really read the new ones, the new stories that have come out. And whenever I read the ones that have been done by the old series, they're very much almost word for word, you get what you see on TV. But I have to say, you said you were going to read that. And obviously I read it because I got it. And it added so much more to it that you're right. It really did add to the characters you saw. And when I was reading, I actually wondered, was some of that in the book the initial premise, but he had to scale it down because of budget and time, obviously.
I reckon, as a storyteller, I reckon they're probably just seeds. You just drops them in, and you could use them later on. That's what you do when you're creating a story like that.
There's a whole part as well with Mickey and his gang. He's got his little band, and that's all quite Bad Wolf, the band called Bad Wolf, and it's all quite sweet. And I liked all that. It's just a really cool book.
Yes.
Suki, you had something?
I was just going to say, Clive's dad wasn't killed during the war. It was the Shoreditch incident.
Shoreditch
members of the Daleks.
Yes, sorry, that's even make it even more mega.
Yeah, it
was. Yeah.
But I have to say, the bit about the books that really made me giggle at times was, I know Russell T Davies has a real strong policy as a writer that he always puts gay characters in things, and he does it very explicitly, which I love and agree with. But I must admit, when I was reading through the books, there was times that some of the locations that they put them in really made me giggle. I know I sent it to Cliff and I put it into the console as well about, when when the dummies come to life. One is in a men's shop in Soho, and it's got his leather pants and leather harness on. And I just actually found that hilarious. The way you weaved this other, promotion of lifestyles in there. It was just funny. You'd never see that on TV, but it's right. If all the dummies come to life, we get the reference to the TV show about, all the breast implants, but then it's also all those fetish gear and stuff like that. I thought it was hilarious. I did think it was really funny.
As well with the kids one, because you do see some little kid, mannequins, dummies, but they're the ones that capture Mook and Patrice and whatever Bad Wolf are called, who we don't see in this, and it's all really creepy. And it's like hundreds, isn't it, of mannequins all descending, and they're following him around as well, the Doctor and Rose, and you don't see that kind of thing either. They put a character on them. It's cool.
This is better than the depiction that they had in Terror of the Autons when they supposedly come out of the window in that story, because all they did, you see him in the window. The next shot is them walking down the street.
Yeah. Which one is Terror of the Autons?
The second one with the Master's first story. It's a bit like you got.
We've done it.
We have done it. Yeah.
We've done both of you. Katie.
It's
was it Spirit from Space?
Spirit from Space.
Spirit from Space is his first one with the Autons, and that's I think that's a lot better than Terror of the Autons.
Oh yeah, I agree.
The Autons are because it gets a bit silly with the doll and all that in the second one. A bit like the bin.
Incident,
incident.
I didn't mind the bin. I really didn't mind the bin.
I think there's a real kind of nostalgia as well, because when Spearhead from Space came out, obviously it was a relaunch of the Doctor on a whole new place, wasn't it? It was like in color, new Doctor, new companion, new story arc being based on
right.
Earth. And I think he deliberately.
Do you reckon he's done that on purpose then?
I think I read it was part of his thinking, and certainly the crashing of the windows. He did say that was his present to the fans because they'd never seen it, and it was one of the things that he wanted to put in. He wanted really clear views of that. So yeah, I think it's a great way to go literally back to a relaunch of an era, because obviously the viewing figures were going down a little bit back in the end of Troughton, and they wanted to pull it up, and it was a great way to start there. Familiar, but.
What is your and just considering her whole arc over all the series that she's there, however many it is, what's your feeling on Rose?
I liked her in the first season, really liked her. Then she gets smug and kind of like that's quite right with the character, because she's sort of been on her adventures and she can be smugger and cockier. But I don't like it when she gets like that. So I was definitely ready for her to go when she went.
You like him submissive, don't you, Bob? Yeah,
that's exactly right, Sean. Yeah,
I felt. The trouble is with Doctor Who, sometimes they don't know when to cut off that companion. They did it with Clara too long. Did a bit with Rose. Yeah, I agree with Bob. She was in some cracking episodes, but you needed her to change, and they should have changed her. And then they introduced, which I really didn't like in New Who. Every Freeman companion fell in love with the Doctor, and that got a bit sickly as well.
That's just like
until Donna, because you had
Donna, and then
Freeman was a bit unrequited love. I mean, I say that about Rose, but like for example, the Impossible Planet Satan's Pit, she's awesome in that because she's scared because it's scary.
Yeah.
But then there's part, and it was a bit like Clara as well, but they have been traveling with him for a long time, so you are going to get more confident, and that maybe will come across as being cocky or smug because you're in danger a lot, so you're going to be a bit scared.
I actually really liked her mum. I thought she was great.
Yeah, Jackie was great. Yeah,
she was one of the ones I didn't like. And this is the first time I watched it. Jackie annoyed me, but I appreciated her this time a lot more.
She gets better. I like that. Camille Kaduri, Jackie does get better. I mean, this first episode, she's like comes across as a stroppy mum, and
comes across the rest of the time she's there as a stroppy mum.
But then she does get better with her storylines a bit.
She's a great actress as well. She is a good actress when she gets going. She does have some, as you get going, she has more quieter parts, shall we say, more subtle. And
going back to Billie Piper, I mean, when she was first announced, she's like a pop singer, and you're just thinking, no, I don't understand why she's been cast in this story. I don't really understand why she's been the new companion.
Modern era.
She proved everybody wrong.
Not only that, she went on beyond this as well.
I mean, if you watch I Hate Susie, she's brilliant in that. Absolutely brilliant.
It happens in a lot of TV these days. Is they're bringing in people who are just essentially not actors initially, but are famous for other reasons, and put them in there, and it works.
Well, Billie Piper was an actress, and she was just sort of thrust into the pop thing.
Yeah, but she was well known for being a pop thing.
She was a pop.
She wasn't well known for being an actress, and I don't think, unless she did a really good audition, I think it might have helped in her getting a role. The fact that she was famous.
It's the younger audience as well, and almost the kind of it may well have been a way to attract the female audience as well, because they will have grown up liking the music, that kind of teeny.
It was a John Nathan Turner trick. It was amazing. Billie Piper, she was massive.
She was a big name. She was a really big name. Yeah.
She had a lot about her in the press all the time with her and Chris, who was her husband wanted.
Of course,
so having that in people's minds also helps. Whether it's good or bad and people don't like, people would tune in to see how bad she is. Or tune
people would watch it.
It was massive, wasn't it? When she left, and that people were tuning in, especially for it was almost like the kind of the Nescafe advert back in the 80s. Where's this going to go?
People used to see it. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
but I was going to say on the viewing of this Rose, it hit 10.8 million.
Yes,
that's just the UK audience.
Yeah, and then it dropped, didn't it? To about, was it 8?
Yeah, but then it came quite steady around the 8s all the time, though.
Because I remember him saying that he always thought, even though the first episode was really important, the second one was more important, because people would always watch the first one because it was Doctor Who. Yeah. It's whether they would, and they might well watch the second, but the second would be when they decided if they were going to watch the net
Well,
anymore.
Do you think that's also a way of, because it was smaller stories, it wasn't like we're used to the four stories in one. You've got a way of either not allowing the people to come back because they can watch this episode and go, all right, I've missed next week's, can watch another episode. You don't need to watch them in order. But also on the other side, you're missing a trick to get someone to watch the next episode. Because there's no big cliffhanger at the end of it.
That's also the key for TV. If you're going to have a story arc, you don't want it to have to be essential. You want to be able to dip in.
Yeah.
So the story arc, the Bad Wolf thing that threads it all through, isn't essential for watching any of the episodes.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's where some shows have, like I've seen some Star Trek shows, Discovery and things, where they've made the mistake of that
having
being
you
the
watch
plot.
it. Yeah.
And
But
that's not good.
The thing with the Doctor Who, which I think this did from the very first episode, was they did go around putting the next time trailer in for the next episode. So
Don't like that.
you're instantly excited about next week's episode. Because
And they were
you
good
just see-
trailers, weren't they?
Yeah.
Always spoilers. They're just spoilers.
Well, I
Just
never
wait
used
for
to
next
put it
week.
after-
You know there's going to be something different.
But it was a way of
Wait.
lulling. And it was after the music, wasn't it? It was right. So you could easily, as a fan, turn it off and not see it because they moved it.
I must
didn't
admit,
they?
I agree with John now. I would disagree with you vehemently back then because I waited for the next time trailer. I just loved it.
Yeah.
But now I'm very different. I don't want to see the next time trailer. I don't want to see anything until I watch it on telly.
Yeah, a bit like that.
I like that
Now.
now.
Yeah.
Back then, you
Sucky-
wanted a little
Sucky-
bit of a
Sucky-
teaser.
Yeah, exactly. Sucky, did you have your hand in the air?
I was
Sorry,
just going to
Sophie.
say that I think they started putting the trailers straight after the episode ended.
Yeah.
Before the credits, and then there was a bit of an uproar about something, and then they put the trailer on after the credits.
It was in
That's
one
the
of the
only-
two-parters. I can't remember which one it was, but there was a two-part that finished in a really clear cliffhanger. And it was so obvious when they played the next trailer that the cliffhanger wasn't big because, let's say, the character was dead, was already in the next one. So it kind of diffused it straight away. So they moved it.
Yeah.
When did it start doing those Doctor Who confidentials? Remember, you
From the
used to-
Straight
beginning.
away.
Was
Right
it
away.
right from the beginning?
And they
Oh,
were
then-
45 minutes. They were
Yeah.
like same length as an episode. It
That
was
was it.
amazing.
They're coming
I-
back,
I-
aren't they,
I
apparently?
really
I've-
enjoyed
yeah.
that.
Haven't they?
Yeah, I've heard that. Not necessarily Doctor Who Confidential, but the kind of the making of things are coming back.
Well,
Yeah,
they
but
started
I've heard
doing
that.
10, 15-minute ones, didn't they? Eventually, then it just
Yeah.
stopped.
Yeah.
But it was ace. It was just
I liked it because it allowed me to click onto, was it BBC Three or
BBC
whatever? it
Four,
was,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
I could sit back and continue watching.
Yeah.
They went from 45 to about hour, whatever they were, out on confidentials, and they went down to about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
10, 15
Because-
minutes. Yeah.
Well,
You couldn't keep that going.
well,
You
the
can't go
thing
around
is-
having the same
the thing
thing
is,
each
it
week.
costs. The thing is, though, Suki, it costs money to do those. So they've obviously included that in the budget. So when they get told to cut costs, they don't have to cut it onto the main show.
Yeah.
They just shorten
yeah.
that bit.
Yeah.
But there's only
Yeah,
so many
yeah.
times
That
you can
saves
show.
money.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good management.
It was, but it was because it just come back. It was new. It was amazing. Like I said, it was just a big, huge moment in Doctor Who to get that bit extra and see behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
That
And I
was
think
always
it-
exciting.
Yeah, and I think it's more seeing the people that were running it who
Yeah.
were Russell
Yeah.
T Davis, Doctor Who fans.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, Simon Pegg. You know, people like that who, just then see
And
the
the
love of
green
show.
screen and how it all
Yeah,
how
how
it
it all
works
works.
was
But you see-
brilliant to see.
You see these names, what you saw in, you know what I mean, on the titles, and you've got the face to it. You saw like Julia Gardner, she was
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and then
You
you
felt
put
like
a
you
name
knew
to
them.
it, yeah. And then it also makes you feel a little bit more that the next lot with Russell T Davis, we're gonna be quite blessed, I think. I'm really looking forward to it. I really am looking forward to it. After watching this again, it made me think how he did that for the beginning.
Yeah.
He's got something else like that planned for the beginning.
But don't expect him to do a because I mean, I'm getting the feeling from like the fandom that I've seen on Twitter and that stuff that they're looking at these this RTD relaunch as a relaunch, but it won't be. It won't be because he's not got the same He's
No.
a continuation. It's,
It's
how
co-
he
oh no,
copes.
yeah,
It's how he copes with him being a continuation. and
Yeah,
not a new
yeah.
starter.
I agree.
But
Yeah,
it's,
It's up
it's
in the
got-
air, I think.
It's got a lot where I don't want him to sweep underneath the carpet and forget about, because there's a lot of stuff which we still want answers to. I want him to explore.
I don't
No,
think he will. He's going to spend
I
more
don't think
money.
he will.
It's going to look better. It's probably going to be better written, better produced. You know, all that sort of stuff they didn't know back then.
Yeah.
But he's a Doctor Who fan. He will have been a fan of the Chibnall era and the Moffat era. You know, these are people that he worked with, and he'll loved all the stuff that was in that.
Yeah.
He's not gonna. He might not mention it for a while, but it's still Doctor Who canon. you
Why
know.
don't Craig? Why don't you ask him when he comes and stays at your guest house?
Oh yeah, of course,
well,
friend of the
I would
show.
obviously be sworn to secrecy on such
All
things.
right.
No,
All
you,
right.
you don't have to be. You just
No.
put Mike in a one room.
You can say that here, but privately send us all the shit that he gets. Yeah.
But it's like, for me, I think when he comes back, I don't have a clue. I wouldn't be surprised. I think he will come away from the backstory like he did last time, but I think we'll just get one story for 3 episodes, or kind of like one thing that's going on. It's got to be quick, introduce fans back to it and the public coming back. It's got to be exciting and fast, and then move off quick again.
Oh, yeah,
a bit like
it's-
Torchwood for 5 days,
I just
know, when we
forgot
had the
it's a
Children
new
of Earth.
Doctor. It's a new Doctor from Companion, isn't it? I've forgotten.
but only for 3 episodes. So it can't be anything too deep. It's just
No.
got to be fun, I think.
But I think it's going to be fun, camp, and just grabs the attention of people.
Yeah,
I
you've
think
gotta
it's
have
just
you've
going to
gotta
be
have
good
gotta have a
telling.
bit of gravity.
I'd
in
be
it.
good. I'd be
Yeah.
good telly. That's what I think it will be. Good
Good
telly.
telly,
Because we already
yeah.
have the characters. We've already got the character of Donna, so we know how she's going to behave because that's Donna. The new
Yeah.
Doctor is not the second Doctor. He's not the 10th Doctor. So not 9th. Sorry. Oh God,
literally
I'm
the
so
f-
mixed up. David Tennant. Yeah, 10th Doctor.
So are we calling this when Tennant's come back for this special or whatever?
Yeah.
Is he now the 14th and the
Yeah.
10th?
He is
That's
the
what this
14th.
no, he's just 14th. That's what they're saying.
And
now.
the 10th. He's also the 10th, isn't he?
No,
But this is a
as
different
an
body
actor,
of
No, if
he
he's
is.
not the 10th and the 10th disappears, then he's then the 13th.
No, he is the 10th originally, but for these 3 adventures that are coming up,
it's the
he's the
14th.
14th.
He's
So,
a different
no, but-
Doctor that looks like the 10th.
So he is the 10th and the 14th. Right, that's what I wanted to know. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
We'll
It's a
find
brand new
out, John.
Doctor that looks like a past one.
Yeah, we'll find out, John.
I wonder
well,
if he's
exactly
going to
what
play him as a different character. That'd be good.
I think he will do.
David
because
Tennant
he's
is a good
developed.
actor.
Yeah.
He did exactly the same mannerisms as, as he
Yes,
did
yes,
originally
yes.
on that
What?
tiny introduction. we
Yeah.
got.
They did,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
yeah.
also you'll get confusion if people tune in because it's David Tennant and it's a totally different character. They're going to get confused as well. So
Oh, yeah.
he'll want to keep the audience that are tuning in. As I've heard a lot
It's the
of people
same
say.
one. It's the same Doctor because of what he did on that little clip. It's,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
number
he's
10
right,
come
yeah.
back.
'Cause
It's
like-
not number 14
Well,
who is not number
Jodie
10.
said those lines quite a few times, didn't she? What? She did that. So
Yeah, but it's the teeth thing and it's all that
yeah,
stuff.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the
Same
same
thing.
Doctor.
Yeah. We
Well,
shall see.
we'll
Yeah.
find out, won't we?
Yeah, we'll find out. And what I'm going to go round.
Well,
give
no,
you 2 words.
there's only one Doctor. Shit, what are we talking about?
Oh yeah.
Ah, we'll go first to Bob. What's your 2 words and last thing about it?
Fantastic. Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
That's
Yeah,
brilliant,
simple
isn't it?
as
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
it's good. But no, yeah, I'm really happy we've done this, which I'm surprised about
I
considering
know
was
because you were really,
fuming.
yeah,
Yeah,
not
he's
happy
really
about it.
against it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been cool. It's been really good.
And Craig, what about yourself?
I loved it. I just want to mention the fact that we kind of briefly touched on it, the fact that we're drawn into this so often by Rose and how much we see the world. And I just love that scene when the Doctor stood behind the eye and he's like going, it needs to be a massive big cylinder. It's got to be right here in the heart of London. It's probably invisible. And I love the fact that Rose and you, as the audience, already know. And you
Yeah,
at that
that's
point
cool.
bond with Rose and you feel cleverer than the Doctor. And I thought it was a really clever way of bringing the audience in. And he does that quite a few times, just getting you to associate with the companion. I wish I'd been as clever as Bob now, but I feel inadequate. But I just want to say 2 words, it begins. Which is
Ooh.
what I get.
Nice. Suki?
My 2 words were welcome back.
Mm.
That's all it is. It was just it's a fantastic story to start a new era
Ah.
of Doctor Who, and I just love the story, love the new characters in this first episode. They do sort of become a bit less grating than there were. But yeah, just welcome back.
Brilliant. And John,
Yeah, 2 words: shagging plastic. It's
Copyright
fantastic.
Bob Fleming. Copyright Bob Fleming.
Yeah, copyright Bob Fleming. It's surprisingly good on the second rewatch, but you know, it's still got its problems. But yeah, I'm content with it this time.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. A few times I've watched it, I watched it again. You find something new each time. And my 2 words is rose gold.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
I actually written that down in something.
What, just in case?
Just in case.
The pressure of hosting it can make you, forget things.
And we're gonna go around. What's the story? Morning glory for next time.
Warming up this dice. In preparation.
I've got to go round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tucky.
I'd like to choose Nightmare of Eden. That was just something that somebody was talking to me about a few days ago. And
Interesting choice.
Oh, that's a good one. And Craig.
Silver Nemesis. I think someone's mentioned it in the past as a suggestion. It kind of really like, oh yeah, I'd like to watch Silver Nemesis again without any doubt. So yeah, Silver Nemesis for me.
Good one. John.
Earth Shock.
Oh yeah.
It's got relevance, guys.
That is
Yeah.
good. Bob.
I'd like to choose an episode of Class.
Oh my god.
You know, a comic relief episode or something.
Can't even joke about that.
I liked Class. I did like Class.
Can't even joke about that. I'm gonna choose something off the season from season 9.
Jeez, you're doing a sucky looking at your DVDs.
Yeah, so I got my Blu-rays. And I'm gonna choose
One from the beginning.
Day of the Daleks.
Oh, good.
That's
Have
on
we
the
done
beginning,
that?
wasn't it?
yeah, we just did,
We've done that recently, haven't
just
we?
less than a year ago, or just over a year ago.
Have we?
Yeah, we definitely done it.
What else is on there? Tell me what else is on there.
You've got Sea Devils, we've done that. It's got the Time Mutants.
Hey,
It's
Bob.
got-
Time
Bob, the
Monster.
amount of time that I backed you up. with
Oh,
your
yeah.
stories.
Yeah,
Maybe you should
it's
back
true.
up Earth Shock.
I think Earthshock's a great one
Wow,
to do.
nice.
I'm going to pick
Well,
Earthshock.
these
Thank
are
you.
all exciting choices.
And then I choose Horror of Fangrock.
Oh, nice.
These are exciting. I don't mind which one of these we do.
Right, so let's roll this dice. Dun. It's 1. Who's 1? It's John. It's Earthshock. There we go.
Felt like I was going to win. I
Yeah,
think the last time I won that was telling to Wang Cheyenne.
it was.
No
Good
way.
choice. Oh, yeah.
That's mad because that's the one before mine, Horror of Fangrock. No.
Nice.
Go. Earthshock,
There you go.
everyone.
There you go. It's better
Earth
be good.
Shock. And that's
How many
what-
episodes? By the way, how many episodes is it?
4.
Have I
Four.
fucked myself over?
14
I
out
have.
of-
14,
Yeah,
14,
12
20,
out.
25.
Slightly fucked myself over there.
Is that on a Blu-ray? It is, isn't it? Have we had that released on Blu-ray yet?
I'm just looking at my collection now because I can. No, because we've only got season 19 of Davison.
Have we only got one Davison released?
Yeah.
Only
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they've got
There
to do
you
another
go.
one of this soon.
Well, you
Oh,
never
when
know.
they put-
Craig.
when they put the money into it. Right, so we're going to watch Earthshock at our next Around the Console. Tune in for that, everybody. And don't worry, you can listen to us on our little bonus episode we got coming up. Or if you're on Spotify, just let it roll on to the next one. And that's a name, I can't remember what it's called.
Mm.
A full life.
A full life.
Life.
A
Big
full
finish.
life.
Full
A
life.
full life. I was
That's
doing
right.
so well. Okay. All right. Bye bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.